I had this sense of frustration, like, what do I, as an individual, have as an influence on the bigger picture here? What my research shows is that, yes, definitely, individuals have a say or an influence on what is going to happen. I'm Barbara Paro and I've just finished my master's degree. Thinking about the future is fundamental to sustainability. And what I mean with this is that I think that sustainability is ultimately about how we as humans interact with an uncertain future. So in that sense, future thinking and sustainability go hand in hand. Everyone has a future narrative. Everyone sees their own life. Where do they want to be when they're 80, you know? So in my research, I call this concept narrative confirmation. What I mean with that is aligning your own ideas about the future with, in the case of my research, consultants doing their consultancy work on sustainable building projects. I did my research at Royal Haskoning, which is a consultancy firm, and I did it in a team called the Sustainable Buildings team. What I did was look at how do these consultants look at the future? What are their future narratives? And then see, so how does that come back in their work? How do they make choices or think about their sustainable building projects? And how do their own future narratives influence that? In the beginning of the Environment and Society Studies program, you have introductions of all the supervisors. My supervisor, Sietske Veenman, she gave a lecture on futurology and the science of futurology. And when I heard about this idea, I was really struck because I thought, how have I not heard of this earlier? We are living in a world that is so unpredictable right now. We have crises like climate change, migration, geopolitical uncertainties. It's a really changing environment. And in that sense, why did we not ask ourselves earlier, how do we as humans deal with that uncertainty? And how do we prepare for such an uncertain future? I started off with my topic, so I was really sure on what I wanted to dive into. As I said to you, it was really an epiphany in the lecture of Sietske, like, this is what I want to study for sure. And then after that, I went looking for a company that could help me research that. So what I learned there in my literature review is that futures are not singular, but they're plural. And that means that there is not one future out there that is going to happen for sure, but there's a whole landscape of futures basically that could happen. And that was exactly what I wanted to research. What do these people think this landscape entails? And how is that going to influence what they're doing? Top line message is that we should consider the individual. We should consider where the change starts. And in my research, it's prominent that is not in the example of a company. That's not just the headquarters. That is every single employee that is working there. We need to find their drive. We need to know where they want to go in the future. And we need to know how to align those future narratives with the bigger goal we want to achieve. This is a little bit more of an extreme example. There was one participant, and he talked about how he thought that the Netherlands would be underwater in the next, 10, 20 years. And so he helped build a project from a company that built a building on the water in Rotterdam. So a floating building. So his future narrative of the Netherlands might be underwater in the upcoming years led to this floating building in Rotterdam. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not going to judge that. But what I know is that his future narrative influenced what he did there. What I think was most important in my studies that helped me was critical thinking. And that is exactly what Environment and Society Studies told me. It's not just what you think on the first side, you need to think that again. So you need to ask yourself, if you're writing your thesis, why am I writing this? And why is this research that I found now, why is that the truth? And how, being critical at your own work, basically. So I think corporate social responsibility is important, yes, but also no, it's not what we only should be looking at. In the Environment and Society Studies program, a lot of people are already thinking about current economic systems as we now know it and being critical towards them. But if you pop that bubble and you go out there and you go into the real world, there is a lot of people who are still living in that reality and not looking further than that. I think we should not make the mistake of thinking that everyone thinks beyond our current economic systems. And I think a good example of that is in my workplace where I work. I started at my workplace as a sustainability strategy and reporting officer. What I did in my job was that I created a sustainability team, but I didn't call this a sustainability team. I called it the future-proof entrepreneurship team. And in that way, I got people excited about the topics of sustainability, such as energy efficiency, circularity, innovation, without them getting this sense of, oh, we don't want to do that sustainability because that is just going to keep us small. And the concept of sustainability feels to them as limiting. Well, actually, it can catalyze this type of change that they do want, and it can definitely be positive. Just if you frame it the right way and you know what I'm going to come back to this, you know what their future narratives are, and you can align that with the goals you want to achieve, I've seen now that is really where the power is. This is something that Sietske Veenman, my supervisor, told me, and I will tell all the others. See your thesis as an academic puzzle. Don't see it as a linear process. Do something, look at it, see if you like it that way, do it again, change it, then look at it again. And the second one is that I think you should stay curious, because sometimes the thesis can feel like a task to complete, but actually this is a journey that you're only going to do once if you're not becoming a researcher. Try and enjoy it and make the best out of it.